Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Holistic Mystic Show. My name is Boston Summer. I am a shamanist. I am a Reiki teacher. I am a business coach. I'm here to help lightworkers dive into the inner work that they need to do so that they can be the person that they want to be and become the person that shows up for their gifts, shows up for their businesses, shows up for the clients. And today we are diving into the power of voice as spellcraft. So if you're watching live, say hello. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, or if you're over on any of the places where this is being streamed, say hello. Make sure you drop into our Facebook group, as all of our uh, episodes are recorded live in the Facebook group, so you have access to ask questions and to watch live. So we're here today to talk about the power of your voice and how every single word that you speak shapes your reality. So let me know if this is a new concept for you or if you're just deepening into this concept. So every word that you breathe out is creating. The question is, are you breathing life into your reality, or are you casting spells of complaint and negativity? This awareness around our words is truly one of the most important things that we can talk about when we're talking about manifestation, when we're talking about creating a life that you love, feeling alive and enjoying your life, feeling fulfilled in your life. And so the question today and the invitation, as always, is, are you speaking life, or are you reinforcing fear and negativity? Just take a moment to do a self-reflection. This throat chakra is a portal of manifestation. It's directly tied to creation energy of the sacral chakra. So the sacral and the throat are linked. And of course, we know that sacral has to do with creation. It's the fertile void of the world. It's where things manifest into being, and our throat is directly connected to it. You might see images where the throat and the womb are identical physically, energetically. And this is not a coincidence, because the power of voice, the power of our throat creates worlds. Even in the Bible, God spoke the world into existence. So what we say ripples into form. And there's more, to be said about this, really the energy behind our words. So the more energy that we put into something, the more that it takes form. Of course, we can't bypass or suppress, like we do not do spiritual bypassing here. We do not do physical bypassing here, or somatic bypassing. It's a word, it's a thing. We must acknowledge and release what is pent up inside. I'm not talking about just pretending like our problems don't exist. We have to acknowledge these things. We have to release them before we can move into acceptance. And so I do want to touch on that, right? So speaking your emotions out helps us to release it. And then we can choose alignment, right? We have to complete the emotion cycle. The problem is we don't want to get stuck in the emotion cycle. We have to complete it. And that involves speaking, that involves cleansing that out of the physical body or the auric field. And we need to do this in a healthy way, where we're not necessarily perpetuating this into the social or community aspects, right? We can release things without involving another person. And I call it bleeding heart syndrome, where we're not like wearing a heart on our sleeves and bleeding all our problems onto everyone. That becomes messy and chaotic and gross and icky. What I'm talking about here is completing that loop, and so that we can move on, right? We can release it, accept it, and then we can choose to be in alignment. But let's go back 1 second to those parts that need to be acknowledged, right? Those suppressed or repressed parts. We really do need to acknowledge these wounded or silenced parts, because a lot of the times they have not been listened to. And so when I'm talking about a part here, is I'm talking about an IFS. This is called internal family structure. This is where we have different ages of our lives. And so like our 3-year-old has a part, our 8-year-old is a part, even our 20-year-old, or even our part from 6 months ago. And essentially all these different parts make up who we are. And if we are experiencing emotion, then we are in a part, and that isn't a bad or good thing. It just is what it is. And so these parts, whether they have been traumatized or whether they have gone through some really difficult things, they need to be listened to, right? We shun them a lot. We pretend that they don't exist. We kind of cast them off, right? And so when we acknowledge these wounded or silenced parts, we can give them a voice, and then we can cleanse and then nurture them. However, the throat chakra also has to do with listening. And so are you listening to these parts? What part needs to be acknowledged? What part needs to have be given a voice? And this is just as cathartic and healing as some of the deep, intense sessions that you can have with plant medicine, or you can have with somatic experiences, right? When these parts are unacknowledged, then they have to speak up louder. Then they have to like cry for our attention. And if you notice you might be reacting instead of responding, you're probably in a part, and a part has taken the wheel of your body, of your life. And these wounded parts still cast spells through our thoughts, through our words, and ultimately creating your beliefs around what is possible. And so when we can unburden these parts, we can give them a space to release and let go of that, whatever that wound is, the emotion, and complete that emotion cycle. Then giving them that voice, right? Letting them know what they need, letting them know, or letting them give a chance to let you know what they need, and then letting them know that you're there for them. This is such an empowering, beautiful, transformative experience. And it's been one of the key things in my life that has really changed the trajectory of my healing journey. Really changed the trajectory of healing generational patterns, generational wounds. And then when you unburden that part, you can then become the role model of that inner child you can become the role model of the inner child that they needed. So hopefully that makes sense. Then from that place of unburdening the child, from unburdening that part, then we can empower and start to lift them up. If you know anything about my emotional alchemy framework, it's about awareness, cleansing, nourishing, empowering, and then the integration. So there's 5 steps in my process, and this is the space of after we've unburdened, we've cleansed that out, we get to nourish them, then we can empower them with the voice. And sometimes these things happen simultaneously. It's not always like in a gray, black and white step or process. But from that place, when we're ready to get into the empowered space of lifting them up, of becoming the role model that this inner child, or maybe your inner teenager needed, or maybe even your just any past part needed, we can flip the script. So this is where You can have some practical spell casting in your daily life. So some of my favorite practices are flipping the script, right? We can turn less than optimal situations. Maybe you're experiencing, maybe you're feeling unworthy, or maybe you're just experiencing something really hard, feeling abandoned, things like that. We can turn them into opportunities for growth, right? So let's say, for instance, you're experiencing abandonment and you think through your self awareness work, you've identified that a part feels left out, or they don't feel included, they feel rejected, any kinds of things like that. We can then, of course, become aware that they need support. We go through a whole series of unburdening them. This is something that I do in my private client practice. And then you can get into a space where you empower them, or you unburden them, you nourish them, give them what they need. You check in with them for up to 40 days. And in that 40-day process, you empower them, right? So let's say that they are feeling left out. You can let them know that you are there for them. You will never be alone because you are there for them. You can start to identify who they do have in their life, right? You have a great partner, or you have a great friend, or you have a great mentor, and really let your words be your motto, right? Speak life into your part, speak life into your future. And I really, really, really love this practice of recording affirmations. What you do is you just get your phone, you can create voice memos in your phone. And the key is that it's your voice, because your voice has the most power. Listening to someone else is impactful, but the frequency that your voice has is made for you. It's made for your soul, it's made for your DNA. Let me know if that resonates. And so we want to start creating and recording things from in our own voice to go back and listen to, because that is going to help us shift and energetically align. If you're an energy worker like me, energetically align into the vibration and to recalibrate yourself 20 times faster, 10 times faster than someone else could. So record affirmations that really align with the life that you want to live, and then play them every day. So let's say that you are dealing with a kind of abandonment wounds or feeling rejected, right? You're going to record either affirmations or a future casting vision. If you don't know what future casting is, basically it is where you get into your center, get into your heart, and then imagine a day in the life of the life that you want to live, or you imagine what kind of relationships you want to have, or you imagine showing up for yourself in the practices that you want to, and then you record yourself doing those things, in your sacred imagination, and then you go back and re-listen to them every day. Sometimes it takes listening to them often to really let that sink and really let that energetic frequency settle into your body. It takes a while to calibrate to a higher frequency, so you have to do everything you can to stay in that reality, right? So of course, in surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up, right? But what I'm really talking about today is being that person for yourself. And so speak blessings over your life. Speak blessings over yourself, over your parts, over your path, the journey that you're on, and believe it. I remember when I did this, on a side note, I remember when I did this for the first time, it was like, I just went back and found some really old ones from 2019. And I went back and listened to them, and I was just so proud of myself for showing up and doing the work. And I could clearly see the vision and the path that I have carved for myself today. And the more that you listen to these things, and the more you immerse yourself in those, then you start to take actions based off of that, because you're surrounding yourself and you're going to start weighing decisions and thought patterns and beliefs to really ultimately end up to the one thing that you keep saying that you want. And so over time, it helps you, it creates a really amazing sacred tool to create the life that you want. So let me know how this resonates with you. If you guys are watching here, I see you guys. Hello. Let me know if you're, what really stood out to you today. Put those in the comments if you are watching this episode somewhere else besides our Facebook group. Put them in the show, put them in the comments on YouTube, or come join our Facebook group and you can share it then. If you are ready to reclaim your voice and step into your power, I would love to support you in this deepening of embracing you, embracing your parts, embracing yourself as a whole, believing in you, believing in the power of your voice, believing that your words have merit. People need to hear you. Your voice is powerful. And I was not where I'm at today, like 5 years ago, but it took me showing up to these practices, working with mentors, and showing up for myself and choosing myself worthy to get myself out of the hump and past my upper limit, right? That's a thing where we can only an upper limit is where you can only receive a certain amount of joy, pleasure, happiness, money, excitement, opportunity, and you have to break through that upper limit. And that, once you do, stabilizing on the new reality, like I had mentioned previously, it takes effort, it takes work and consistency. And so working with a mentor, you can do this yourself, but working with a mentor, working with a healer helps to like multiply that time, quicken that up by like 10 times. So if you want to go and identify things in the throat chakra that are ready to be released and unburdened, and work with these parts, nurture them, I would love to have a call with you. I really do prefer to have kind of a longer container for something like that. So just like a one-off session. So if you are interested in that, drop a green heart emoji. I will also put in the show notes how you can book a soul strategy call, and we can discuss where your blocks are and create a game plan for you to really meet your goals and discover what those are and how you can do that. So I trust that this serves you. I pray over your life. I pray blessings on your life. Go have a beautiful, beautiful week. And once again, my name is Boston Summer. I will see you next time on the Holistic Mystic Show. Until then, go out there and share your light with the world. Namaste.